Hi, hello, good evening, friends. Welcome one and all to Nifty Banker, India's first retail Bank Nifty Traders Conference. This is your host, Ashok Devanampriya. Friends, we are in the ninth session of our conference series, and today we have an interesting speaker from Mumbai, Mr. Gaurav Bissa. He's a VP of LKP Securities, spent close to 10 years in the financial markets. He has been instrumental in setting up the research desk in many of the organizations during his career spanning 10 plus years. He does also appear in media channels also. So that is a quick nutshell about Gaurav. Gaurav, on behalf of my entire Traders Gurukul family and the participants of Nifty Banker, we extend our warm welcome to you into the program.
Thank you, Ashok, and for the kind gesture to speak good things about me. I rarely hear such things, but I'm quite happy that you were having kind words for me. And thank you for the opportunity to share what little I know with all the wonderful people out there. And a very warm welcome to all of you. Uh, today it's a good, I would say, initiative by Ashok or Traders Gurukul in a nutshell, uh, because a lot of times people chase things which might not be relevant, right? And this is interesting in the sense that when it comes to index, with all the norms that are being thrown up by SEBI, trading would be much easier in indices as compared to your individual stocks, whether you're talking about futures and options. And this is where the liquidity also lies. So I think it's a very logical step by Traders Gurukul to have something on Bank Nifty. And I personally prefer Bank Nifty because we all know it has much more volatile moves as compared to the Nifty index. So that makes it all the more interesting. So can I start, Ashok?
Yes, my friend. Thank you so much. The stage is yours.
Yeah, thank you. Uh, you know, what we discussed today, I would still say that it is applicable on all the asset classes, whether this is pertaining to Bank Nifty, but that does not mean that what I discussed with you today will not be able to be applied to other asset classes, whether you're talking about stocks or commodities or currencies or bonds for that matter. I have always believed that always pick a study which has scalability and which has scope in the sense that you can apply it on various different modes, right? So that is the beauty of Ichimoku. It is equally effective in different asset classes, different time frames. The strategies that we will have today are going to be on a smaller time frame for the reason that carryover risk is increasing by the day, with so much of global storm brewing around. Sometimes there is thing coming in the US, sometimes it's the European market, sometimes it is the domestic issues. There's always a chance of a gap up or gap down note, and we might burn our hands. So it's always better that if we trade and we execute and we exit in the same day, that is much safer. So that is going to be the theme for today's presentation. I'll try to make it as interesting as possible so that it doesn't turn out to be a lullaby and you don't fall asleep. And we'll start. And my the way I take my all the webinars, I always try to build up the purpose. There has to be a purpose behind any study, whatever. See, it's ninth session. The previous eight speakers, they were fantastic, right? But everybody had a purpose why they were using that particular study. That is very important, right? So the purpose lets you work on your own way. Second, whenever anybody tells you a study, like today we're talking about Ichimoku, always try to understand the functioning of that, how that particular thing is arrived at, because then you can tweak to your own models. You can create your own models and you can know when a particular thing will work, when that might not work. For example, say people talk about RSI, right? RSI divergence. It's the one of the most uh, abused or most commonly used terms you can think about. People base their trades on RSI divergence. Now, I'm not saying that it is not effective. It is very impactful. But then you need to understand how you have arrived at that. Why was there a divergence? What was the reason behind it? Then you can devise your own methods, your own ways to take a particular trade. Because if a general population is taking a trade based on that very aspect, the chances of you making money is going to be less. If say 100 people, 1000 people, or maybe 100,000 people are watching RSI divergence, then they are going to act in that particular way. You need to beat all those 100,000 people to be profitable, right? So it is always important. Today, the strategies that we will discuss, before that, I'll give you a gist of how the Ichimoku works and what all components. I'm not going to teach all the components as such, but what the components are important for our study, we'll discuss that. And I'll tell you that how you can basically make best use of it. Right? So in the bottom right, you can see I have written the mighty Kijun Sen. So there are various components in Ichimoku. In the next slide, you will see what all the different components are. Kijun is the most important aspect of the entire Ichimoku setup. Now it is used for trading signals also, and it is also used as your stop losses for people who have bought something at the lower levels or people who have shorted something at the higher levels. It acts as a wonderful trailing stop loss mechanism as well, right? So that is interesting. It also tells you early signs of trend reversal. It does not tell you the exact reversal as such, but it does tell you the early sign of trend reversal. So it has multiple purposes, and that is why today we are going to have strategies that are revolving around Kijun only, right? So the key components, the first and foremost, Ichimoku is a momentum indicator, right? It should not be used in non-trending markets. Now, when I say non-trending markets, it basically means that markets are not doing too much. Bank Nifty is not doing too much. It's trading in a range, right? So during such times, one should avoid not just the Ichimoku as an indicator, but any indicator. 90% or maybe 95% of the technical studies are only to capture momentum. There are only few studies that we would like to have for range bound move, right? We want to capture a trend. So it is like trend following system. Okay. So these are the various components. Tenkan-sen, it was uh, the idea and the study was done by Mr. Goichi Osoda. He was a Japanese journalist. It took 30 years for him to come out with such a wonderful system, and that is why you have all these different Japanese names: Tenkan-sen, Kijun-sen, Chikuspan, Senkou-span, A, Senkou-span B, and Kumo. Kumo is the Japanese word for cloud. Uh, Tenkan is, let me just give you a brief idea what basically is Tenkan. Tenkan is nothing but it's a moving average sort of. You can correlate this with a moving average. So for example, if you talk about maybe 20 DMA. So what does 20 DMA signify? It's on a closing basis. It signifies the average of last 20 candles closing prices, right? You divide by 20. Add last 20 closing prices, you divide by 20. That tells you the 20 DMA. Here it is slightly different. It has the calculation of last 9 bars, last 9 periods. Why am I saying periods? Because it can be on, if it's an hourly chart, then last 9 hours. If it's an 2 hourly chart, then last 9 2 hourly candles. If it's a daily chart, then last 9 days. If it's a weekly chart, then last 9 weeks, right? So the highest point and the lowest point of last 9 periods, average of that. So for example, let us say for in the last 9 periods, the average of Bank Nifty, for example, is say 36,500, and the lowest point of last 9 bars is say 32,500. So Tenkan will be 36,500 plus 32,500 divided by 2, right? The calculations are always the same in all the softwares. They are available on free websites like TradingView or Investing and some of the other websites also. They are available on paid software also. Only the coloring changes, calculation remains the same. Similarly, when we talk about Kijun Sen, the calculations are exactly the same. In Tenkan Sen, we had calculation of last 9 bars, last 9 periods. In Kijun Sen, it is 26. And that is why my friend's Kijun is something of a more matured component. Imagine the Tenkan Sen as your maybe 9 DMA or your 5 DMA or smaller number DMA. It is going to fluctuate a lot, right? It is going to fluctuate a lot. But whether when we talk about 50 DMA or maybe 100 DMA, that does not move too fast. It is not very rapid. Why? Because we are taking the period under consideration is fairly large. Same is the case with Kijun. It has the calculation of last 26 bars, last 26 periods. Then it is the same. The highest point of last 26 periods, the lowest point of last 26 periods, and you take an average out of that. So, for example, say for Bank Nifty, arbitrarily the 37,000 was the highest point of last 26 periods, and the lowest point was 32,000. So it will be 37,000 plus 32,000 divided by 2. That is denoted by your Kijun Sen, right? It is important because many a times it remains flat. So even if we see, so this is basically the chart of Bank Nifty, right? I'm just trying to show here if you can see, right? So this black arrow you can see it is